Pleasure to welcome you to the Metro Historical Commission's 48th Annual Preservation Awards program as it celebrates National Preservation Month, which is held annually and sponsored by the National Trust of Historic Preservation and observed in the month of May. The awards are presented to those who have properties in the categories of residential, religious, commercial, educational institution, industrial engineering, and infill architecture. This year's theme is People Saving Places, which shines the spotlight on everyone doing the work of saving places in big and small ways. Congratulations to all, especially the winners of this year's Metropolitan Historical Commission's Preservation Awards, that shine the spotlight on everyone doing the work of saving places in big and small ways. And before I sit down, I would like to recognize those members of the Metro Historical Commission, as well as the Metro Historic Zoning Commission. Will you please stand?
Thank you, Chair Wynn. I'm Tim Walker, the Executive Director of the Metro Historical Commission, and I want to welcome you again to the 48th Annual Preservation Awards program. Before we begin the program, I just want to take a minute to thank all of those who have made today's event possible, and I'm going to do double duty. Linda, I want to recognize the commissioners one more time. I also want to add Dr. Carol Busey, our county historian. Would you guys stand, please, one more time? These individuals volunteer their time and energy, and they provide guidance and support to the staff and me, and we're just so appreciative of all of their work and dedication. So again, thank you. I also want to thank the Nashville Public Library for allowing us to use this wonderful auditorium space again this year. And I want to thank the Metro Nashville Network and Metro Information Technology Services for being here to take today's program, which will be available later this month on Metro Channel 3, so you'll have to look for that. I also want to take a moment to thank Historic Nashville and the Preservation Society of Nashville, our two local nonprofits for historic preservation in Davidson County, as well as the Metro Historical Commission Foundation, the Friends Group for our department. All three organizations are co-sponsoring the reception that will follow the awards program. You'll hear a little bit more about that later in the program. And finally, I just want to take a moment to recognize my staff. They work hard all year. They're very dedicated, and they've all been pitching in to put this on today. So if my staff are around, would you please stand? They're mostly in the back, and I'm actually looking for Scarlett Miles on staff. Scarlett, you want to wave your hand there in the back? Scarlett has managed the awards program again this year, and she's done an excellent job, and I'm very proud of her. So with that, I have the wonderful honor of introducing our mayor, Mayor Freddie O'Connell, our keynote speaker. The mayor has supported our department and its mission long before he became an elected official. When I first met the mayor in 2012, he was the neighborhood president of Salem Town, and he worked with us to designate that neighborhood as a neighborhood conservation overlay district. As a council member, he worked to designate the Edge Hill neighborhood and Marathon Village as local historic districts. As well, he worked to expand the downtown historic district greatly to include two National Register districts completely, Printers Alley and the Financial District, and a portion of the Fifth Avenue historic districts, the areas of our downtown that weren't protected. So we appreciate all of that. He's also supported the expansion of the department by funding an archaeologist, which has made a real difference to the work we do. And he helped us put in place our first major local preservation incentive, the Historic Preservation Tax Improvement Abatement, something that's really helping business owners downtown be able to meet the need to renovate historic properties. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to both thank him and welcome him to the stage. So let's give him a hand. Mayor O'Connell.
Well, thank you, Tim, and good evening, everyone. I hope for a few of you this is your first Preservation Awards. This is the 48th Annual Preservation Awards, and it is one of my favorite occasions of the year in Nashville. You'll see why over the course of the program, I hope. So thank you, Director Walker, Chair Linda Wynn, and I also want to recognize Chairman A. Bell of the Metro Historic Zoning Commission. These are two commissions with shared staff that do such important work for the process of character and preservation in this city. And then I want to thank all of the architects, designers, contractors, homeowners, historians, preservationists. Many of you are members of either the Metro Historical or Historic Zoning Commissions assembled here, but delighted to welcome everyone to our downtown library and this 48th Annual Preservation Awards ceremony. This is, if you flip through the booklet already, you know this is not only a fantastic program overall, but one of the longer programs, and I'm so grateful to live in a city where we celebrate architects and placemakers. I live in a home in Salem Town that won one of these awards, and honestly, the way that our family chose the house had so much to do with the character and thoughtful design approach that not just the architect, but even the floor plan team took to the space, and it had a huge impact on our decision to make it our home 17 years ago, and this was before we knew it was about to win a preservation award. And as Tim shared with you, we had many opportunities, even in one of the fastest growing parts of the city over the previous 8 years, to ensure that we got expansion or creation of several key districts that allow this important staff and team and these commissioners to work on something that is more than just about old buildings. Preservation is about people and places, as I think everyone gathered here this evening knows. It's about streetscapes, shared spaces. It's ultimately, too, about identity, maybe even branding, because in a one-of-a-kind city like Nashville, it's important that we protect and project our unique and storied landmarks. We don't want to be like any town USA, because we're not. Anyone who has sat in the pews of the Ryman Auditorium knows that our commitment to preservation has cemented a legacy of not just Music City, but a place that has a downtown that we shouldn't forget. Today, we're honoring some of the people and places that give us those special characteristics. The theme of this year's awards program is People Saving Places. To that end, I want to offer my congratulations to all of the award winners, with a special thanks to our panel of 3 judges, architect Amy Harden and historians Kate Hatfield and Paul Hoffman. They'll be announcing award winners in several categories before closing with the honor awards. Now, these honor awards have already been announced, but if you don't know who they are and would like some more suspense, you to cover your ears for a minute, because there are 4 that I think are worthy of calling out by name. Tom Vikstrom, Director of Finance and Hotel Historian at the Hermitage Hotel. Baseball historian Skip Nipper, along with the Nashville Old Timers Baseball Association, and maybe for me personally, one of the most special honorees I get to recognize tonight, the 9th mayor of Metropolitan Nashville and Davidson County, my predecessor, Mayor John Cooper, joined tonight by his wife, Laura. And I would ask if we pause here for just a moment of applause for these award winners. I got to serve with Mayor Cooper for 8 years altogether, 4 as we were both on the Metro Council, and then 4 again as he was mayor. And I can assure you that he is a great champion of people and many of the specific places we're celebrating this afternoon. Only 2 other Nashville mayors have received this award, and I think that shows you that it is reserved for those leaders who are as dedicated as he has been to supporting preservation of our historic and cultural resources, including notably Fort Negley Park, Nashville City Cemetery, and one of the things that I'm most excited to talk a little bit about tonight, Sunnyside in Sevier Park. So thank you, Mayor Cooper, for your leadership on these initiatives. I recently visited the Sunnyside project, which I used to know as the long-term offices of Metro Historic, which it will be again very soon in richer form. And I was so excited to see the interpretation plan. What is happening at Sunnyside right now is envisioned by Tim and his staff, the respective commissions, Mayor Cooper, multiple staff members of the mayor's office, is a renovation, addition, and rehabilitation project that will be wrapping up in the next few weeks. There is a ribbon cutting ceremony on June 29th, Saturday a few weeks out, and I hope you can make it because it will be worth seeing and experiencing. Sunnyside and Sevier Park is the embodiment of Metro's current public history efforts, and I think sets the standard for historic preservation and interpretation. The number of partnerships that made this project possible is astounding. It involved the Metro Nashville Police Department, Vanderbilt University, MTSU, scientists across the South, and working with the Historical Commission, they've been able to trace the evolution of the house and are better able to tell a more complete story about those who lived, worked, fought, and played there through several eras in time. In collaboration with Metro Parks, all of that experience is going to give a long-term, beautiful home to Metro Historic, but it's also going to enhance the parks experience. But as they've pulled this together, using tools like archival research, dendrochronology, archaeology, as Tim shared, and paint analysis, the Historical Commission has established an incredible timeline from the site's early history and the presence of indigenous peoples through to the creation of Sevier Park as we know it today. The result is a multi-layered history of those who were enslaved at Sunnyside, the intensity of the Battle of Nashville and the Civil War, prominent owners including Dr. L.G. Noel and Colonel Granville Sevier, and the evolution of the park and surrounding increasingly urban development. The property's history by itself is significant. Things were learned even under the renovation process. The main log building was built in 1823 and 1824, making it the oldest building in the park. But through the work of so many people in this room, there is a living history there that will educate the community and serve as an example of the importance of local government's investment in its properties and our own history. Many of the properties and addresses we're celebrating today represent efforts to tell more of Nashville's story in that way. This includes the preservation of the Boyd House, once endangered on the Fisk campus, and another project I was personally involved in. The Smokehouse at Travelers Rest, industrial buildings like the Tennessee Central Railway Museum, Newhoff Boiler Building and Engine Room, places of worship like the Cathedral of the Incarnation, West End Synagogue, and El Shaddai Christian Church, and several buildings damaged by the March 2020 tornado. So with that, I'm going to step aside and let our people and places speak for themselves, but thank you for attending this evening's ceremony and for your role in preserving, protecting, and projecting Nashville's history. Thanks so much.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Amy Harden, and it has been my pleasure to serve as a judge for this year's Preservation Awards, along with Kate Hatfield and Paul Hoffman. Before we get started, I think I can speak on behalf of my fellow judges and offer congratulations to all of the nominated projects. I am sure this is said year after year, but this year's nominations were truly exceptional, and we certainly had our work cut out for us. We carefully reviewed all of the nominations And after reviewing the project descriptions, examining photographs, and visiting the projects, we deliberated. But we had so many terrific projects to discuss, we had to meet a second time to give each one proper attention. We've since heard that calling a second meeting was a first for a judging team. This goes to show how wonderful these 36 nominations truly are, and it is encouraging start to celebrating National Preservation Month. I have sat where you are today, eagerly waiting and wondering if my project would be recognized. We have a lot to cover this evening, so let's get started. As we read the honorable mentions and the winning project names, everyone associated with that project can make their way to the stage at the center stairs, and I will describe each project as you come forward. So first, we will begin with the infill category. An honorable mention goes to 1812 Holly Street. This new home in Laughlin Springs replaces one that was damaged beyond repair by the March 2020 tornado. The infill design by Allard Ward Architects references the craftsman details from the original home, such as front-facing double gable form, brick porch details, and decorative knee braces in a fresh, modern interpretation. Similar in scale and form to the historic homes that survived the storm, it helps maintain the historic context in an area experiencing so much new construction. Great job. A preservation award goes to 912 Jackson Street. When Laurie Del Martin purchased the vacant lot here in Hope Gardens, she envisioned building a comfortable new home that would also harmonize with historic character of the surrounding neighborhood. The design took great effort to incorporate details inspired by nearby historic homes and carefully select materials that add visual interest while paying homage to the neighborhood's rich heritage. We could tell the team approached this project with care and intention. It is a welcome addition to the neighborhood. Terrific work. And now for the commercial category. An honorable mention goes to Neighbor Lily at 606 Monroe Street. Located in historic Germantown, this single-family home was actually zoned mixed use. When the last homeowners moved out, Karen Copps, who owns the business next door, purchased the property to renovate for commercial use as a flower, coffee, and tea shop. The former residence was in good condition, but adapting a historic home for commercial use brings its own sets of challenges, particularly for combined retail and restaurant uses. All in all, while the work was extensive, the changes appear minimal, modest, and almost effortless. The space is both welcoming and a welcome addition to the neighborhood. Wonderful job. A preservation award goes to 606 and 700 8th Avenue South. Formerly home to the 8th Avenue Antiques Mall and Bill Voorhees John Deere showroom, these familiar landmarks were almost lost to new development. However, Manuel Zeitlin helped convince the new owners that with careful planning, the historic buildings and their surrounding acreage could be assets for this site along the railroad. Together, MZA, Hawk & Partners, and ESA designed the current master plan, which includes 2 new high-rise mixed-use buildings along with the current existing warehouse structures. The adaptive reuse of both buildings not only preserves the historic fabric along this corridor, but also encourages a diversity of businesses and their patrons that otherwise may not have located here. Designation as a local historic landmark will also protect them in the future. Excellent work. A preservation award goes to 1021 at 5 points. Originally built as the Russell Street Presbyterian Church, this address was home to YCAP of East Nashville from the mid-1990s until the March 2020 tornado struck. While the building experienced significant damage from the storm, including the loss of its bell tower, exposure to elements after the storm only compounded the issues. Thankfully, neighbors Mark and Patty Sanders intervened, purchasing the property and stabilizing it before embarking on years-long effort to repair and rebuild, led by Tracy Ford of EOA. While some features, like the original lemon wedge windows, were meticulously rebuilt and restored, the former bell tower was reimagined as a lantern, paying homage to the original form with a contemporary feel, emblematic of the neighborhood's resilience. The project also includes the new addition of 120 South 11th Street. Not only was the building saved, but it once again serves as an active, welcoming landmark in the community. Amazing work. And now for the educational and institutional category. An honorable mention goes to the Boyd House at Fisk University. Designed by McKissick & McKissick for Dr. Henry Allen Boyd and Georgia Bradford Boyd, the house later served as Fisk president's residence and then faculty office space. In 2020, the house suffered an attic fire and subsequent water damage. Seeing no other options, Fisk sought and obtained a permit to demolish the structure. Thankfully, however, a rallying cry led by Dr. Lee Williams of TSU and fundraising efforts by descendant LaDonna Boyd, as well as thousands of concerned community members, helped pause the demolition while stabilization and additional funding could be explored. Ultimately, the building was saved and the transformation is remarkable. Through meticulous rehabilitation that required rebuilding of the second floor and attic, finding compatible solutions for accessibility, and detailed attention to the brick exterior, leaded windows, and entry doors, the once endangered property is now a bustling university building. We are thankful for the activists who sounded the alarm, Fisk University for hearing the outcry, and the Bradley Projects and other teammates who executed the challenging work. Well done. A preservation award goes to the Smokehouse at Historic Travelers Rest. Constructed around 1839 to 1840, the Smokehouse at Travelers Rest is one of 3 extant historic structures on the property. It was constructed and used by enslaved and post-emancipation African Americans who lived and worked at the property. This unassuming structure is a key part of the interpretation and educational programming at Travelers Rest. The project involves stabilizing the structure and addressing masonry issues like spalling brick and proper tuck pointing, thanks to USS, Wasco, and EMC structural engineers. But even before work began, the team conducted a GPR study around the perimeter to ensure no underground artifacts would be damaged by the stabilization work. This was a true preservation project. The Smokehouse is integral to telling the full story of this historic site, and we commend Travelers Rest and Colonial Dames for treating it with such exceptional care. Great work. Congratulations again, and now Kate Hatfield will announce the next category.
Thank you, Amy. So next up, we'll continue with the residential properties, which is the category, well, the reason for us meeting a second time. We had so many projects to go over. So an honorable mention goes to 912 South Douglas Avenue. This project included a modest addition designed by Allard Ward Architects, creating a sunroom, screened-in porch, and primary bathroom on the second floor. Additionally, structural issues required shoring up and replacement of the front porch columns. Despite these changes, the team worked to preserve as much of the historic fabric as possible, maintaining the striking facade along South Douglas. We appreciated the modest nature of the project and admired the team's ability to work within the confines of the pie piece-shaped lot. Nice work. And an honorable mention goes to 1402 Linden Avenue. This meticulous renovation included detailed restoration of the windows and repairs to the front porch, including the railings and pillars. Previous owners had converted the home from a duplex to its original use as a single-family home, but had done so by removing historic details and replacing them with modern fixtures. Shortly after Leanne and Paul Gilbert moved in 2020, they began the painstaking work of restoring the interior to its historic appearance, addressing everything from paint-covered window hardware and lost doorknobs to replicating baseboards and trim throughout the house, the smaller touchable details that really make a project. They went above and beyond. Great job. And an honorable mention goes to 1907 Holly Street. This house in Laughlin Springs was devastated by the March 2020 tornado, resulting in the loss of the second story and blown out windows and doors. However, it was one of the few surviving homes on the block. Despite the adversity they would come to face over the next years, Tom and Missy Larson loved their home and neighborhood and did not want to leave. In addition to the extensive repairs, the Larsons expanded the upstairs and finished converting the house into a single-family home, all within the home's original footprint. To conceal the brick and mortar repairs, the team lime washed the exterior, giving it the appearance of a powder-dipped beignet. Great job. Okay, last honorable mention. An honorable mention goes to 2000 20th Avenue South. This project involved updating the existing house and providing additional living space in the place of an old screened porch. Allard Ward Architects designed the addition for Will and Elizabeth Drury. We admired the team's dedication to matching the existing brick as closely as possible. Once in place, though, the new brick did not match as well as hoped, so the team chose to painstakingly stain the new brick to match a color palette found within the original brick. The team also made repairs to the stucco and chimneys. The project anchors the corner of 20th and Portland beautifully. Nice work. And a preservation award goes to 1822 Fatherland Street. John Dyke and Gabe LeDuc's home at the corner of Fatherland and 9th is hard to miss with its highly ornate details. Over the years, they have worked to restore interior details like the elaborate wood casings, doors, original fireplaces, and hardwood floors. This project focused on restoring the original formal rooms and adding modern spaces in the rear by expanding the footprint and adding a garage. This home has a new internal gutter system, as well as detailed exterior repairs to the wood siding, stone foundation, and brick chimneys. The articulation of the elevation along 9th adds great visual interest. Nice work. A preservation award goes to 925 Halcyon Avenue. This property had several issues common to historic properties. Uneven settling of the brick foundation had led to structural issues, and many of the exterior wood elements were worn and suffering from rot. The chimney also needed to be stabilized. The project addressed these challenges and included a new addition and custom millwork to match the original features of the home. This is a large addition on a corner lot, but does not appear overwhelming or out of scale. In particular, the dormers have a nice scale and do not overpower the main structure. Great work. A preservation award goes to 3700 Brush Hill Road. Craig and Kim Kennedy served as architects and contractor for the restoration, rehabilitation, and addition to their personal residence. The stone veneer was carefully cleaned and revived. Interior elements were salvaged and reused. And the most striking part of this project is the side addition, which sits like a dark shadow and references the existing shape of the front gable. The materials used, which include glass and reverse board and batten, both complement and serve as contrast to the organic elements of the original home, putting the stonework on full display. It's markedly different, but just works. Excellent job. A preservation award goes to 3804 Brush Hill Road. The goals for Philip and Shannon Cordell's home were to add minimal square footage and to keep the original layout of the home while providing a little more space for contemporary-sized rooms. Maximizing views of the Cumberland was also a key goal. As the house was built without footers, the team had to insert footers and restore the chimney's home structural integrity. The team also addressed the masonry, including restoration of the stone chimney. During demo, the team uncovered the stunning scissor trusses in the vaulted family room, a feature which they wisely showcased. Amazing work. And a preservation award goes to 4501 Nebraska Avenue. Known as the Bowling House, this centerpiece in Sylvan Park sits on a triple lot, forming an impressive estate. Alex and Aaron Tolbert admired this home for years before acquiring the property in June 2020. This project includes meticulous restoration and renovation, as well as an addition. The interior details are exquisite, and the team took great care to preserve and enhance them. We also admired the careful treatment of the carriage house, which posed some challenges with its balloon framing and other idiosyncrasies of its construction. The owner's love for their home is evident. Terrific work. Congratulations to all the residential properties, and now Paul Hoffman will announce the remaining categories.
Thanks, Kate. This was one of my favorite categories, industrial and engineering. A preservation award goes to Newhoff Boiler Building and Engine Room. Constructed of multi-withe load-bearing masonry and concrete post and slab around 1920 for the Newhoff Packing Company, these spaces were virtually unused from 1992 to 2011. Following minor renovations, the engine room was occupied from 2011 until 19 by Peter Nappy's leather goods retail store. This project, led by Smith G Studio, includes the adaptive reuse of the spaces into a brewery, tasting room, and event space. The engine room was essentially preserved as is, with typical improvement needed for codes and accessibility compliance. The brick smokestack was fully repointed and capped. The boiler building was left in a state of managed decay, with the walls and steel trusses stabilized and elements like the wood windows and electrical equipment left in place for interest. The open-air space along the river feels otherworldly. The project serves as a gateway to the development occurring across the 13-acre Newhoff district, serving as a remnant and reminder of the area's important industrial history. Nice job. A preservation award goes to Tennessee Central Railway Museum. The Tennessee Central Railway Museum is housed in the former offices and warehouse for the railway's master mechanics team, constructed in 1920 with an addition in 1940. It is one of two original structures remaining in the Tennessee Central Railway's rail yard and the only master mechanics building for the entire railroad operation. In 2021, straight line winds severely damaged the eastern portion of the roof structure. As a working museum, the organization was committed to replicate the original construction process as much as possible. The metal roofing structure was removed and all parts tested for integrity before being reinstalled. The team reused salvaged brick and terracotta for repairs. The project also included restoration of the windows. The judges appreciated the care and attention paid to repairing this modest structure. Terrific work. And now for the final category and some of our favorite projects, religious properties. A preservation award goes to El Shaddai Christian Church. Located on Concord Road near the Williamson County line, El Shaddai Christian Church was constructed in the 1840s by the Concord Baptist Church. The educational building was added in 1946, and the new front entrance added in 1969. The Concord congregation eventually merged with another church in 1997. When El Shaddai acquired the building in 2005, it had been vacant for years, and it showed. But the congregation cleaned it out and settled in. The location along Mill Creek offered a peaceful setting for the church, but in May 2010, major flooding along the creek caused extensive damage to the historic church. Over the course of the next decade, the church worked to raise funds, and through careful planning and coordination with several metro departments, the church was able to make extensive repairs while incorporating features to mitigate flood damage in the future, like elevating electrical work, HVAC, reinforcing the crawl space, and adding floodway vents. We admired the team's dedication and perseverance. Great work. A preservation award goes to Cathedral of the Incarnation. Designed by Nashville architect Christian A. Asmus, the Cathedral of the Incarnation was dedicated in July 1914. With renovations in 1937 and 1987 and new buildings added to the campus in the early 2000s, by 2016, the sanctuary interior, which is richly decorated with coffered ceilings, bas-relief sculptures, and murals, was showing significant signs of deterioration. This project included restoration of the crumbling plasterwork, decorative gilding, and painted surfaces. The chapels were transformed through the addition of bas-relief sculpture and decorative murals. Restoration of the original wooden pews and the addition of a new pipe organ completed the project. It's all highly detailed, meticulous work, and it has an enormous impact. Impressive work. A preservation award goes to West End Synagogue. Designed by Percival Goodman, a New York architect and urban theorist known for his modernist synagogue designs, the cornerstone for the current sanctuary was laid in 1950. Along with the modernist design, the new sanctuary represented the congregation's move from downtown Nashville to the growing West Nashville suburbs. The project involved updating previously renovated sanctuary and social hall interiors that were showing signs of wear, were very dark and dated, and acoustically quiet. The renovated interiors include new finishes, a redesigned bima and ark, new lighting, and highly improved acoustics. The project also included replacement of the exterior clear-story window glass to improve energy efficiency and better control daylighting of the space. Custom pieces made from glass, oak, and stone tile complete the project. Although the transformation is striking, the team stayed faithful to Goodman's intention. This is one of Nashville's true modernist treasures. Beautiful work. Again, congratulations, and now Commissioner Jim Hubler will present the Fletch Koch Award.
Tom Vikstrom has been with the Hermitage Hotel since 2003 as its Director of Finance, but his real passion is the history of that hotel. He's a history detective, sleuthing out the stories of the hotel's guests, staff, and architect of his beloved hotel. One of his real talents is in engaging in conversation with people and pulling out their personal stories. Through this talent, he has located many past guests and staff of the hotel and learned their interesting stories. Since 2011, he has shared these memories through something else that he has created, Reflections of the Past, a quarterly newsletter filled with carefully researched recollections of the hotel's history. In 2020, he worked on having the hotel named as a National Historic Landmark, and in 2021, he was named by Historic Hotels of America as the Hotel Historian of the Year. Tom serves on the boards of the Tennessee Trails Association, the Metro Historical Commission Foundation, and the Historic Nashville Incorporated Board, in which he does tours. Can you imagine? It is with great pleasure that we give the Fletch Koch Award to Tom Vikstrom.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, thank you all. This afternoon, or we about to see in the lineup, we have a nipper, a cooper, and a walker, to name a few. Sounds to me like part of a solid baseball lineup. I used to play first base, and I would like to be in on this roster as the vicar, okay? I think we can make a great infield, and maybe we can ask Mayor O'Connell to be our coach. Seriously, isn't Nashville a great and fascinating city? The history here is deep, varied, and intriguing. It's something for us to appreciate and build upon. It's worth reminding that Metro Historic Commission had a very influential role in saving the Hermitage Hotel about 45 years ago, when many thought it had reached the end of life. The actions and leadership of Mayor Richard Fulton and others, including Fletch Koch, and with Historic Nashville, Inc., were very instrumental in perpetuating the life of this extremely well-designed and built hotel and other iconic buildings throughout Nashville. It's easy to be historian at the Hermitage Hotel because it's a great hotel, a place, an experience. The city has always been proud of the Hermitage Hotel and will continue to be because we offer something special and of high quality and an enchanting setting. I'm not the first hotel historian at the Hermitage. There was a great one in the 1960s and again in the 1980s. The Hermitage Hotel does that to people. I invite you to spend some time there and bring your out-of-town guests. Meet Me at the Hermitage has been a popular expression now for 114 years, and many more to come. Skip and I had lunch a few weeks ago and started researching and exchanging baseball-related stories. Skip sent me a news clipping of when Babe Ruth was a guest in Suite 208 at the hotel in 1933, when the New York Yankees came through town to play at Sulphur Dell. Because of that detail, we now have added a special story to tell about the second floor And in fact, every guest room floor of the hotel has a great story. I came back to Skip with another news report of Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth playing cards in their room as Hermitage guests, and earlier in 1925, when baseball great Ty Cobb stayed there. In more recent decades, baseball great Willie Mays was one of our guests. He even bought a bed in our gift shop. Yes, we truly sold him a good night's sleep. The stories are endless. It's that way at the Hermitage Hotel. Whether guests coming into Nashville are in sports, the music industry, the performing arts, business people in state or local politics, or couples here for marriage proposals and honeymoons, we like to say that we create moments that make memories at the Hermitage Hotel. Some of the greatest moments were in August 1920, when women gained equal voting rights nationwide as Tennessee helped ratify the 19th Amendment. A wonderful story, and one in which the Hermitage Hotel served as host right here in progressive Nashville for the difference makers. My heartfelt thanks goes to the Hermitage Hotel ownership, who have maintained and refreshed and improved the hotel, and to the senior leadership of the hotel, including Dee Patel, for allowing me to take on the historian role, generally after my regular work is completed. Several of the hotel team are here today, including Justin Robbins, general manager, and they are the talented heroes who make our guests feel special every day. It's a great place to work. In 2005, a 90-year-old man living in Georgia who was a former bellman and food checker at the Hermitage had his daughter help him type out his hotel memoirs dating back to the 1930s. When that letter arrived, it really sparked my interest, and I've been collecting memories stories ever since. In fact, I'd be glad to hear yours. My history efforts kicked into a higher gear in 2007 when the hotel brought in Ridley Wills to be author for our centennial book, timed for release in 2010. I thank Ridley for being a strong positive influence and a truly remarkable historian. Many other historians in Nashville have also been inspirational, and I'm grateful for our friendships. My wife Wanda and I have been great research pals as well, sometimes staying up till midnight. We've been intrigued with many discoveries and continue to enjoy a great time along life's journey. She came up with the expression, "Elegance never goes out of style." The wonderful staff at the Tennessee State Library and Archives, the Nashville Room of the Tennessee Public Library, and the team at Metro Archives have always been brilliant and encouraging. These are wonderful resources to all of us. A very special part of keeping the hotel's legacy alive, in fact, inspiring to our bright future, comes from our guests and people of the city who like to share their experiences. That might be a bellman from the 1960s or a former guest. They feel so appreciative to have someone listen and take an interest in what they have to say. So, in closing, I invite you to ask questions and take an interest and make time for the people around you. It's a gift we can give to people, whether it be friend or family, if we take a little time to ask people about themselves and to show sincere interest. We are making the world a better place. Thank you.
My name is Don Cusick, and I am a baseball fan. Nashville and baseball have a long history together. Of course, a lot of people remember the Nashville Vols and Sulphur Dell and the elite giants from the Negro Leagues. And there is no single person in Nashville or on this earth who has done more to preserve the history of Nashville and baseball than Skip Nipper. And he has written a book. He's written books on baseball in Nashville. In fact, that's the name of his book. And he's got a podcast. He's done articles. He has done research. And when somebody has done as much as Skip has, they deserve an award. And so we're giving him one. Skip, come on.
Don, thank you for that. That was over the top. I appreciate that so much. Chair Wynn, Mayor O'Connell, and Mr. Walker, thank you. Metro Nashville Historical Commission members, I am deeply honored and humbled by this recognition. I truly am. Thank you. Everything I do and everything I accomplish is always a team effort. So let me thank my team. First of all, I'm guided by my Lord and Savior, so I am free. Capably assisted by my wife, Sheila, who claims that baseball is my other woman. My son, Chris, and my daughter-in-law, Dana, are here. My brother, Jim, drove in from Johnson City. I have many friends and family here with me. There are so many in faraway places. I am grateful for them. Baseball has been a part of my life since I was a child. But my interest in baseball history really began when my father, Virgil Nipper, and I attended a sales meeting in Chicago some 25 years ago, where we shared our first visits together to Wrigley Field. On our return home, he told me how much that ballpark reminded him of good old Sulphur Dell. I remembered the old ballpark. I was a child when I went there, but I was curious and I had to know more about it. The conversation I had with my dad lit a flame, and that flame has been fueled since then by innumerable friends I have met over the years just by being welcomed into the baseball community. Many of them have become mentors to me, and I want to thank them. They know who they are. The list is too long. Each one has been more than helpful in researching, writing, and telling Nashville's baseball history, and it is rich. But there's more. I owe thanks to historian Debbie Cox, who guided me in the early years. The staff at Metro Archives are so good. And I want to give a special shout out to my good friend, Dr. Harriet Kimbrough Hamilton, daughter of a Negro League star, truly one of the greats from Nashville, Henry Kimbrough. All of these played some part in my opportunities to study historical events of the Nashville Vols and the Nashville Sounds. But I soon discovered the Nashville Elite Giants. Don, I sat in Butch McCord's living room one time and I said elite, and he said, hold on, young man, it's Elite. It's Elite, Don. The Nashville Elite Giants, the Black Vols, the Nashville Cubs, and the Stars. Those seem to have been left behind, and I'm not going to stand for it. It's important to understand the past to understand what is happening now, isn't it? History begets history, doesn't it? And baseball is not a passive sport, and its history isn't inactive. For example, First Horizon Park, the beautiful First Horizon Park that we have here, is truly a living gallery with historical baseball tributes displayed throughout. The Old Timers Baseball Complex at Shelby Park has a history of its own, too. So do Herschel Greer Stadium, Tom Wilson Park, and historic Sulphur Dell, long gone but not forgotten. And should our city be home to a major league ball club one day, no matter how far away that might be or how soon, its stadium will be alive, historic too. And all of these have been history in the making. And I hope sulphurdale.com and my Nashville Baseball History podcast are important sources too. That's what I strive for them to be living museums so that what I have learned can be passed on to others. Whether one reads or listens, learning is the key. The most rewarding gift of all, sometimes saddening, has been studying the elusive evidence, the golden nuggets of Negro Leagues baseball and the greats from Nashville who did not receive their due. Too often, they even had their dignity taken away. But how else could I have met friends with Negro League past history like Butch McCord and Jim Zapp, Sidney Bunce Jr., and others who shared their stories with me? And how else could I have met Nashville Vols baseball players Bobby Dernbaugh, Roy Pardue, Buddy Gilbert, and Larry Taylor? They all allowed me to enter their personal space so I could record their experiences and tell others about that. Not overshadowed by them, their spouses and significant others have been on equal footing and should get credit for the support and love they gave while their husbands were playing the game they loved so much. That's the way Mom was, supporting Dad when he wanted to go play baseball, and how my wife is when I sit at my keyboard and type away. And speaking of my mom, I'll give you the baseball connections that I have. Her maiden name was Dorothy Waddell. And when she was born in 1929, my grandfather was on the road in a territory that covered New York City to the Rio Grande, if you can believe it. And he and my grandmother gave her a special middle name. You see, he sold baseballs for Lanham Manufacturing Company in Tullahoma, and the brand name for their products was Worth, Dorothy Worth Waddell. Do you remember when I said baseball has been a part of my life since I was a child? This recognition comes on a special day for me. According to my baby book that Mom kept, I attended my very first baseball game 73 years ago today to see my dad play City League baseball at Morgan Park. I was 7 months old. If we study and if we find evidence of the many aspects of baseball, such as those I have mentioned, we can debate and give life to the subject in hope of righting any wrongs, not only for us now, but for the future. And in closing, I'll leave you this. Enjoy the game for what it is. It's a great game. Go to the ballpark where no one cares about your political affiliation, not even where you may go to church. Just watch a game with family and friends. Somehow we feel safe there, don't we? And I'll bet you will have memories for a lifetime. Again, thank you.
Hello, I'm Marissa Richmond, a member of the Metro Historical Commission, and in keeping with the theme, or many theme, of tonight's ceremony, it's my pleasure to announce I'm trying out for umpire. I'm here to give the Commissioner's Award. The Nashville Old-Timers Baseball Association began as a hot stove gathering organized in the winter of 1938 by Harry Warhorse Rogers, a city employee and highly successful sandlot manager. Over 80 baseball enthusiasts attended the inaugural meeting at Shacklin's restaurant, ready to talk baseball in the off-season. After sharing stories, the group decided to make it official, electing officers with Rogers as president and planning a banquet for the following year. In 1984, the Nashville Old-Timers Baseball Association formally adopted its creed to enjoy fellowship with baseball enthusiasts and to honor and support the great game of baseball at all levels. Since the early 1950s, the annual banquet has featured a keynote address by a noteworthy current or former player, coach, manager, or scout. Hometown talents Sonny Gray and R.A. Dickey have spoken to the group, as well as such greats as Tommy Lasorda, George Steinbrenner, and Ken Griffey Jr. And I'll note I had the honor of meeting the legendary Buck O'Neill at one of these dinners. The association also maintains a Hall of Fame, with members elected based upon their ability, longevity, integrity, sportsmanship, character, and their contribution to the team and the game of baseball. The Hall of Fame recognizes standouts in amateur baseball, fast-pitch softball, and umpires. Additionally, the association awards scholarships, over 350 since 1999, and often assists amateur leagues and ballparks with funding. The association also maintains a unique connection, as you just heard, with Shelby Park through the Old Timers baseball facility. The baseball field was first built in 1914 and was known for many years simply as Shelby No. 1. Home plate is still within 6 feet of its original location. The Nashville Old Timers Baseball Association assumed operation of the field in 1990 and has made substantial improvements, addressing everything from in-ground sprinklers and scoreboards to dugouts and winged foul poles, as well as adding a second field in partnership with Metro Parts. The Junie McBride Hall of Fame room on the upper floor of the clubhouse displays historic photos and memorabilia and recognizes members of the Old Timers Hall of Fame, along with Nashville major leaguers, Old Timers past presidents, and other honored baseball players. 85 years after its founding, the Nashville Old Timers Baseball Association remains one of the rare organizations of its kind in the United States. It is significant for its work to promote Nashville's baseball history, as well as its support for ongoing development of sport. Please welcome the Old Timers Baseball Association.
It's my privilege as the current president of the board to say thank you. Thank you to Nashville for recognizing this organization and the love of baseball. You've heard the history. It is my pleasure to invite you to be a part of our association. Every September, we have a golf tournament that raises money for scholarships. You've heard us say that since 1999, we've given out 350 scholarships of amount about $700,000. It is our privilege to get together just as they did in 1938 as baseball enthusiasts to share stories. My story goes back to Parkwood back in the early 70s, where I played there, and then I moved to Cane Ridge Volunteer Park a couple years later. I've been privileged to coach hundreds of games at the Una Recreation Center. But more importantly than games coached, games played, are the stories that we share with each other. Whether I go to a funeral home, a hospital, a church, speak at an event in the neighborhood, go to the airport, do business, wherever we go, we share baseball stories. It's just one question away. Who do you like? Who is your favorite player? Where did you play? Where did you coach? What do you remember about a family event called baseball? It's our privilege to be a part of the community and to share the love of baseball. You'll look on our website. It'll keep you posted with when our golf tournament is. Next year's banquet will be in January. We have secured the location, and watch for our next year's speaker. Thank you, Nashville, for letting baseball be such a part of our lives.
Good evening. My name is Clay Bailey. I serve on the Metro Historical Commission, and I am honored to be up here to honor a friend and someone who I admire very much. I first got to know him, Mayor Cooper, when we were both concerned about what had been a baseball site, Greer Stadium, or the old Greer property. He became very interested and engaged in that site before it was popular to do so, before many others were giving Fort Negley the attention that it needs. And so and the award that he is receiving tonight, the Preservation Leadership Award, is one that is given at the Commission's discretion to recognize outstanding leadership in Nashville history and historic preservation. It is not always given. Mayor Cooper, however, put himself in a position to be very deserving of this award for several reasons, including Fort Negley, as well as the several other things that Scarlett Miles has eloquently highlighted, and I encourage you to look at that. As we all know, early in his tenure, we were struck with the tornado, and of course, the response of the Cooper administration to that was pivotal. And as with that, and so also with Fort Negley, we will see the fruits of his hard work even more in the years to come as those sites get activated. And of course, we also saw the bombing on 2nd Avenue, which again, he navigated through quite tirelessly and effectively. So I will leave it to you to read Scarlett's nice tribute to him. But just to add simply that this, in the coming months, as I said, we will see the full fruits of his labor in his one extraordinary term as mayor. The unmatched legacy that he has left and that he will leave merits a special Preservation Leadership Award. So I am honored to invite him here to the stage now to make some comments and receive that award.
Well, I'm very honored to be here. Chair, Mayor, Tim. I want to thank my wife, Laura, and our 3 children. It was a big 4 years for all of us. But I'm really here to thank each of you, because this is the important work of Nashville. This is the soul of our city. And Fletch Koch, is she here? Here she is. Okay, I'm going to tell this story. In 1970, I was parked with my grandmother on the side of the Nashville City Cemetery. I'm setting my time here. And I remember she turned to me and talked the community. You have to understand the community. It's not just those of us alive, but it's everybody in Nashville. The city cemetery is part of our community. The soul of a city is intergenerational. And the reason I remember this so clearly, I was 13 years old, is she died that day. But that is our mission. And I'm just here to celebrate. I don't know why I'm looking at Tim. Am I allowed to say this? Bossy historians? Right? I'm here, and the passionate designers. Each of these projects, the passion, the time, the patience, the commitment. And I want to celebrate owners. There's an old adage in the real estate business that there are no bad architects, there are only bad owners. So all of us, to be a great owner to the city, to be a great owner to the assets that we have is so important, and to broaden our arms to what a community is and how enriched we are by each
I'm sure every project that we saw today was referred to at some point as a passion project. You wouldn't do it, but it was passionate. And it was enriching. And now it's enriching to everybody that sees it and to everyone that worked on it. And this event is this celebration of this mosaic of Nashville with its past, and then this is how we have a bright future. Sure, we have Oracle's headquarters. That's great. The East Bank is going to be beyond fabulous. We're going to have a bright future. But what makes us special is understanding our history and celebrating every single person's role in making us special and telling all of the stories. And I want to thank for me, it's very personal, the Holly Street award winners tonight. I remember walking through the debris on the day of the tornado, really crawling through the debris in some cases, and to see what it is now is inspiring. And for all of us to go back and the year ahead is to challenge each of us to find a passion project, work on it, don't be deterred. It will be hard, but tonight we're here in a moment to celebrate you for doing that, to celebrate each designer, each owner, each historian, each person who is accepting the challenge of the stewardship of Nashville's soul. And that's what I'm here to thank each of you. Again, I want to thank the commissioners. You know, people don't appreciate enough the unpaid work, and also the staff, this is paid work, of people's participation, you know, of dealing with the public fairly, to listening, to channeling those concerns into creating a better Nashville. I'm grateful to each one of you and to all of you here. But for a moment, I'm allowed to say it. Thank you, bossy historians. Nashville was so close to losing so much of its soul, right? The Hermitage Hotel, Ryman Auditorium. These things were just not negotiable about our identity and now to our future, and the ability to use this marvelous built past that we have to create a vision for our future. But that's only happening with craftspeople, designers, passion, care, careful work, each detail mattering. And so for that, I want to honor each of you. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much.
We'll pause for just a moment. We'll have our closing speaker come up, or speakers.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ellen Hurd. I am the president of Historic Nashville, Inc., which is a local nonprofit here in Nashville that has been doing the work of preserving historic Nashville for over 50 years. So we do this through education, advocacy, as well as our preservation easements program. I'm sure a lot of you are already members, but if you are not, we would love to have you join. We've got information out there on the table. We've got flyers if you want to pick one up. And I'm also joined by Colson Horton. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks. Sorry, it took us a minute to get down. We didn't know if we were the closing remarks or not, so thanks, Tim. I'm Colson Horton, and I'm here with my co-founder, Kelly Bannon, and some of our board members. We started the Preservation Society of Nashville in December of 2022. So we're fresh to the scene, but we're so thrilled to be here to support this work, to support Metro Historic in our city, and everyone in this room that is doing this vital effort, as we heard, for passion for what we love so much about our town. So thank you for letting us be here.
And it is just so inspiring to hear these success stories of historic preservation in Nashville. You know, I think there's so many stories that are sad and things that we've lost, but it's really just amazing to celebrate the work that you all are doing in our community. So we would like to invite you to join us after this at Hastings Architecture, the Athenaeum, which is over at 225 Polk Avenue, so it's just right up the street, for a reception that we are co-hosting. So thank you so much.
Also, one more note, sorry. Your parking can be validated for up to 1.5 hours, so you can get that on the way out. Is that right? Excellent. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.